I'll be your Huckleberry. This is the man we're going to be talking about next.
Oh, I love Val.
It's the man. It's Val. Now, this is coming in at number 7. And listen, I know, guys, I'm slightly older than you. And I kind of grew up with
I
this
actually
guy.
don't know how old Gianni is, so I may be slightly older than him as well, to be fair. I feel incredibly old these days.
Now,
I feel about 90.
This premiered on Prime Video, I believe, on the 6th of August last year. We both have Prime Video, so we've got no excuses not to watch this.
And I love
The Great Man.
I do love that.
And this was a surprise. This was on your list, Gianni, for me anyway. It being a documentary. Now the documentary.
It's an interesting concept, though. I've read it's very interesting.
The documentary centering on the daily life of actor Val Kilmer, featuring never before seen footage spanning 40 years. Now that's what I'm talking about. You know, from seeing him in Top Gun, Tombstone. He amazing, you know, and then seeing him in Batman.
Listen,
he was
Batman.
a good Batman. I don't care what anyone says.
I'm not. I'll fight anyone to the death. He was not a bad Batman.
Yeah, it was just
George Clooney was a bad Batman. Val Kilmer was not a bad Batman.
George Clooney wasn't Batman. George Clooney was George Clooney in that film. But
I'll fight anyone to say Adam West was a bad Batman as well. By the way. That leotard, that lycra, has no place with Batman. That's why I will forever love Tim Burton. I just think of Only Fools and Horses over here when I think of Adam West. No. It's terrible. Tim Burton saved Batman.
I don't mind Adam West, but I mean, so we get a documentary in this list, and I'm going to just ask why this documentary? What does Val Kilmer mean to you, Gianni?
Yeah. I mean, you guys, I've been writing for you guys since like 2018, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, you guys know I'm not really a huge documentary fan. A lot of people love them, and I think that's great. For me, I think the things that documentaries are always lacking are, I mean, one, there's sort of like, they're heavily reliant on mystery, and I think that is sort of like a contrived way of engaging audiences. But I also think that a lot of things that the documentaries tend to do is they tend to lack any sort of, visual aesthetic or cohesive visual aesthetic. It's always just sort of scrambled together to try to capture whatever action is happening in the moment, anything that will better bolster or influence generally a mystery. And all of my favorite documentaries tend to be the things that are more the slice of life and things that have an aesthetic that's not afraid to capture just the general sort of nuance of an everyday life. My favorite documentaries Grey Gardens, I think, was really influential for me. And then I loved Citizen4 as well, because that's like sort of, there is a central mystery to that, but at the end of the day, it really is just about how he's coping with his new life, basically on the run from the American government. And not to get too sidetracked or anything like that, but those are...
sidetracking is good, Gianni. Don't worry about it. It's absolutely fine. Don't ever worry about sidetracking. Right. That's my absolute thing. I go off and speak about things. Sadly...
I didn't do tangential. Just want to gauge your interest. But anyway, I think that Val is... Obviously, it has the added touch of your main subject is also the cinematographer. So everything that's captured in the film is of interest to the subject itself and always bolsters his own view and outlook on life, which also tethers to the sort of central themes. He says several times throughout the piece that it's a movie that he wanted to make a movie about acting. He's always wanted to make a movie that's about the craft that he went to pursue. And ultimately what Val is about, I think, or in my sort of interpretation of the film, is it's about the fact that Val Kilmer, one of the most, notorious, like one of the most prestigious, I would say, actors in American cinema, felt like he never actually really got the chance to do the thing that he loved. That performance, that acting, was never something that was really achievable to him. It was always buried under the monotony of different things that he had to do in order to keep sort of influencing the craft. And so he just so happened to be really good at it and sort of fell into success on like a lot of different things. But ultimately, he probably would agree with this statement. He could probably count on one hand the amount of times that he actually felt like he got to do the craft that he loved. And I went to performance school in university. So it was already a topic of discussion that was really, really neat to me. But really, the thing that I loved so much about Val was the vulnerability with which he shares his life. Completely unafraid for those sort of moments that may be a little too personal for most documentary subjects. And he did that himself. He went out and he said, "This is the story that I want to tell, and I'm unafraid to show you that I was a sort of controversial figure in the early 2010s. I'm unafraid to show you that the divorce of my wife pretty much broke my spirit. I'm unafraid to talk about the death of my brother and how that impacted me so greatly." And I think I think that if documentary filmmakers or just filmmakers in general really want to see a film that could teach them, I think, a lot about what vulnerability needs to be captured in order to create effective art, I think that they can learn a lot from Val. And so I certainly did.
Sounds absolutely incredible. You gave it high praise, man. You've actually got me want to go and watch it now.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge documentary guy.
No.
But I tell you, I'm looking up and it is getting Oscar buzz. And I'd like to know your thoughts on it. Obviously, they have expanded the Best Picture category out of 10 pictures.
I would love
10 nominees.
Love to see that all up there. But I think that it's a little too niche. I think that a lot of people that I know were hesitant to see it because they thought it was a vanity project.
Yeah.
But if you know anything about where Kilmer is at in his life now, that's definitely not the case, and it's certainly not what the film is portraying. So I think that if you're sort of putting it off for that reason, I think go ahead and watch it, because it is really worth your time.
And the concept of exploring the sort of human behind the art as well, I think that's something that's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's not something, and it's why I do like watching the sort of round tables and getting an insight into the monotony, what it takes on a day-to-day basis to be an actor, because you think of the glitz, the glam, the red carpets.
Yeah.
Doing your dream job.
The Hollywood Reporter roundtables were always my favorite thing.
You don't see that side. You don't really get to see the humanity of these actual superstars, these actors, whatever you'd like to call them.
Yeah.
And I think that's so interesting, because he has had a very, very interesting life. I mean, he was battling cancer, if I'm right in saying. I'm pretty sure he was battling cancer.
Yeah.
I actually searched that up. I was thinking this today, has he still got cancer? What is going on with Val Kilmer? Because he was, I'm pretty sure he had something going on.
I don't think he has cancer anymore, but he does have a very...
It was his throat, wasn't it?
I don't know what to call it, but there's like the hole in his throat.
Yeah.
I forget the term, but it's...
A track to arm? I can't remember. I don't know.
I'm very
Something
much
like
of the same opinion as you guys, in terms of documentaries now. I think the sort of cardinal sin that a lot of filmmakers make when they're doing documentaries is that they kind of go for the obvious in terms of the subject being something we all know, and it's very rare that you'll get a documentary that John and I will review, and sometimes we are prone to do it out of more
it's usually
indulgence,
musical sort of related
like
things we'll
Beatles
do
or
with
something like that, and sometimes
because you can sense the passion.
Yeah, but sometimes you do sit back and you go, I know how this ends, so why am I doing this, In terms of and one like this, the only other one I can really think of that I've not seen Val, was probably Jim and Andy, the Jim Carrey, Andy Kaufman crossover documentary that Netflix did about 3 years ago, in terms of getting into that sort of actor's headspace. And that kind of thing intrigues me as well. When you mentioned the round tables there, John, and that's something that fascinates me.
And the actor on actor, when they speak
that's an
about
amazing
their lives
series,
and obviously what goes on, the aspects of being an actor, I just find it so interesting, because it's not something we ever really get to explore.
No.
We just see them as these larger-than-life figures on the camera. We don't get to see the other aspects, and you see the likes of a Chris Evans or something like that, or a Mahershala Ali, and it hits home how eloquent they are. And how, Chris Evans in particular, you think of him as being Captain America, but the guy is very, very intelligent, and he's a very good communicator. Mahershala, you expect it. It's just that aspect, seeing different sides of these big names, if you like. I find it so interesting. And that's what's maybe drawn me to this, more than anything, how you've described it. He is showing warts and all. He's shown various aspects of his career, his day-to-day life. By all accounts, the cinematography is incredible in this. I'm talking about that getting a potential Oscar nomination. and he's the guy
It
who
is
did it.
really, it is really nice. I mean, I love cinematography that's just effortless. You know what I mean? And you know, with documentaries, it gets like into that weird sort of space of like, you know, how much of it is really like a plan sort of. But I also think that some of the best cinematography is like these unplanned magical moments. Like all Malick films, I think, have the best cinematography, and all of them, you know, are pretty much the best ones shot by Lubeski and done in natural light. And all of them were happy accidents. You know what I mean? It's these like ethereal moments that just capture like the sun rising over two lovers on a beach, right? And like that stuff to me is where cinematography blends into its own unique sort of art form that then bolsters filmmaking. So I mean, Val I think it's brilliant. I totally think it's worth your time if you haven't checked it out already for all of that.
I'm going to check it out.
John, do you know something? I'm very embarrassed to say that none of us have checked it out. We were aware of the documentary, and I don't know.
As I says, I'm not a huge documentary guy. Yeah. That's my get out there. But I will watch it because I'm a huge fan. I do love Val Kilmer. I've grown up with this guy's movies.
Love him.
He shaped my life one way or another, be it with the Batman or with some of the other great movies he was in, like Tombstone, which it embarrasses me to say I watched fairly recently, and I seem to miss. And what a movie it is! Another one of my favourite actors, Kurt Russell.
I think you were 4 years old when it came out, John.
I was 4 years old, so it would have been
excuse you for that.
Yeah, but